Hey there, guys. Dragon Master here, and I want to welcome you to Star Wars and Earth, Episode 24, Codename The Last Sith. So, I just have one thing to say, and that is about the name. The name of Episode 24 was kind of hard because in Star Wars, the 8th movie was The Last Jedi, so I kind of changed it up to The Last Sith. Since we know how Snoke is killed and Kylo is basically the only Sith left, but there's still Palpatine, who the Terrans don't know about, is still alive. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. We start our journey off with the Terrans, who have just gone back to Zakul. The Resistance had decided to evacuate their base since the First Order was coming, and the Terrans decided to head back to Zakul to gather their forces to continue hunting down the Empire. The Terrans offered the Resistance, all the people in the Resistance, to join them and head to Zakul, but Leia said that she and the rest of the Resistance would be heading to their own secret base they had. So he told the higher-ups of the Terrans, higher-ups, about this. Thrawn asked her if they could send at least ships to help escort them. Leia accepted this, and the Terrans sent 4 cruisers, dreadnought cruisers of their own to help escort the Resistance, what was left of the Resistance, to this world. The Terrans then headed back to Zakul and began preparing their fleet to attack the First Order. Eventually, after a couple of hours, or maybe a couple days, a day later, the Terrans hear word from their cruisers they sent to help protect the Resistance fleet that Snoke's personal cruiser had arrived. They also heard about how the First Order attacked the Resistance base, but luckily they were able to get everyone out in time. They even told them that they were able to destroyed a dreadnought of the First Order. This impressed Thrawn, but he also heard how Snoke's personal flagship was currently following them, and they had already destroyed 2 of their cruisers. And Thrawn decides they need to go help the Resistance immediately. Thrawn splits the fleet up into 2 fleets. One of these the first fleet will be heading to continue the fight in the First Order territory. This fleet will be made up of Hackett and Anderson. The second fleet will be led by Thrawn and Shepard, who will head to help the Resistance. It takes another day to get their fleets prepared, fully fueled and armored, and everyone ready. The Terrans then depart. After an hour, they finally reach the location where the Resistance was, and what they see is shock. They see that Snoke's personal flagship, half of its ship at least, has been, cut off. Basically, the wing of the ship, there's a huge cut that cut half of the ship apart. Well, not half, but I'm just going to call it that. They also see many of the First Order Star Destroyer versions of their own were cut in half. This shocks them. They also find out that the other 2 of their dreadnought cruisers were destroyed, but they're completely shocked to see what happened. And they're able to receive a communication from the world where the Resistance fled to. They tell them that they sacrificed the Mon Calamari cruiser they had, and someone sacrificed themselves to buy the Resistance times to get away. They also learn that apparently Snoke is dead. From one of the spies they had on the ship, apparently Snoke was killed by Rey. This surprises Shepard and Thrawn that Snoke's dead. Shepard had to admit from the history books, Snoke did look a lot like Plagueis. Well, Darth Plagueis. He remembers about it, and the talks many people had about it. When the Terrans first saw Snoke, they actually thought it was Plagueis, but they realized it wasn't. But they also realized that he was sort of a Sith, but in a way he wasn't. He was something interesting indeed, who could use the dark side of the Force, but was not a Sith himself. Thrawn had a theory that Snoke might actually be a clone of Plagueis, who Plagueis might have had a backup of, basically in case he died, because he knew of a Sith technique he had read once on, well, basically found out once about a technique which allowed them to survive death, basically, by transferring their mind into another, and then to weaken the mind and take over that body by casting that body's person out into the void. But if the person trying to take over fails, they will be cast into the void, but their influence will be still left around. So Thrawn and Shepard, along with the Terran higher-ups, wondered if he was a clone of Darth Plagueis. But there were also other theories that maybe this was a creation of Palpatine, since they had later found out, through studying things at his home on Naboo, that Darth Plagueis was his master, and he had killed him. No, I mean, they killed him. Sorry. Forgot, this is my own version. This isn't the canon version of how Plagueis died. But anyway, the Terrans knew Plagueis had not survived. There was no way he had survived. But they also knew that it was possibly Palpatine's doing. Maybe a protocol left after in case he died. They didn't know. But they were glad to hear Snoke was dead. So they make their way to the planet and see what's going on. They see a giant, basically, generator of sorts, well, battering ram, shooting some kind of gold beam into a ginormous, armored, well, doors that looked like a base. The Terrans decide to immediately engage the First Order forces at space, while they send bombers to aid them below with fighters covering them, and transports. When Kylo Ren and Luke are about to have their duel, they see the Terrans have arrived, and Kylo Ren is furious. General Hux, knowing that they were already weakened and with a Terran fleet here, they would not be able to fight back, ordered a retreat, and told Kylo they had to go. Kylo was reluctant, but after seeing the Terrans come in, and knowing that he would not be able to win, he remembered Snoke had warned him, and he knew that these Terrans were designed to fight Sith, who were much more powerful than him, and they would destroy him in combat. Kylo did fight Terran soldiers sometimes, but they were usually low-ranked, or not that skilled. He knew if an army of them or special trained squads would kill him. So he decided to agree to this, and they retreated. Once they were back up in space and onto one of the destroyers, they immediately spaced back to First Order territory. When a transport arrived, it dropped off Shepard, and when he saw Luke, he was happy to see a good friend of his. Luke was also happy and followed them in to go see the rebels, resistance, what was left of the resistance. The Terrans helped them out, and then Rey would later join them on. And Luke would tell them that he's dying by using this Force technique. And he told Shepard it was an honor to be his friend and to help Rey and bring her to the Jedi, and to ask Mace Windu to train her. Shepard agrees to this, and they shake hands before Luke disappears, but he leaves them all a final message that the fight is not over yet, and there are still many more battles to come until the galaxy is truly at peace. Luke then appears back where he was. Well, basically, he falls down after using the Force and then looks at the sunrise before disappearing. Thrawn has this weird feeling about something has happened, but he doesn't know what this feeling is. The Terrans take all what was left of the Resistance onto their transports, and Thrawn has decided that they need to find a world where they'll be able to hide. Luckily for them, they have the perfect world. It is a jungle world that not even the First Order knows about, and the Resistance will be safe there. So they head up into space and get everyone loaded onto the ships before they finally make way and go to hyperspace and head off to this mysterious world. And that is where we are going to leave it off. So, just have a few things to say. Sorry, this episode isn't that interesting. There really wasn't much, since The Last Jedi is probably the worstest of all the 9 Star Wars movie of the trilogy. Just saying. So there really wasn't much I could change in this. So that's all I have to say. Also saying that only one more episode to go left, and then the bonus episode, and then the series is finally done. So that being said, please comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and bye.